Hey guys, Slayer here, bringing you guys Destiny 2 Update 7.3.5. By the time this is live, we would have already covered some of the new weapons that made their way into the new sandbox. Today we're going to focus on all these miscellaneous changes. This is more of like the finalized changes, everything summed up without all the extra fluff. So I wanted to wait until they released something that kind of tied everything together and pretty much gave you the main points and takeaways of the update. Starting with activities Crucible. In general, they fixed an issue causing crest bounce on Water and Supremacy, altered the way the experimental Snake Draft Lobby Balancer handles fire teams, updated playlist tooltips to correctly display which matchmaking style is being used for each mode. So when you have skill-based and connection-based matchmaking. Now, maps. Tuning paths over the initial spawning, heavy ammo crate, and tiebreaker zone locations for all maps. Cough, dead cliffs. Map spawning quality of life path. Address spawn traps for Eternity and Fortress. Removed all backfield spawns for non-rift modes, the Citadel, Cathedral of Dusk, Disjunction, and Convergence. Now, game modes. They've moved 3v3 Clash to the 3v3 Quick Play Rotator and updated the rules. Heavy ammo is no longer shared. Wow. Respawn timer increased from 5 to 7 seconds to further reduce spawn trapping. Match timer increased to 10 minutes. Score to win remains 40. Now, they've added Collision, a new 3v3 King of the Hill game mode to Crucible Labs. A single larger zone will rotate between 5 points around the map on a timer. Capturing and controlling that rotating zone will earn a team points. This is long overdue, ladies and gentlemen. This mode will also feature test an alternative special ammo crate system. The special ammo crate system will feature 4 shareable special ammo crates that spawn simultaneously at the beginning of the game or round, and then on a timer afterwards. Each control zone location A, B, and C will have an associated special ammo crate. At the 4th crate will be in a neutral location. Players who currently have special ammo will drop special ammo bricks upon defeat. And they've reworked Iron Banner Tribute. Simplified objectives and scoring, changed the trigger for the hunt from depositing max crests to a team score threshold. User experience improvements, decreased the distance at which crests icon can be seen, reworked how quickly the beacons despawn and rotate, significantly decreased the time it takes to dunk crests, reduced the number of turrets that spawn with the hunt beacon from 4 to 3, removes the visual indicator wall hacks on players carrying max crests. Still low, Bungie. We have Crucible, right? You can go to Lord Shaxx in the tower and pick up some bounties. You can go to Saint 14 in the hangar and pick up some Trials bounties. Why, with Lord Saladin, can't we get any Iron Banner bounties? They're far in between anyways, they come every once in a while. Why not add us some Iron Banner bounties? Now, competitive. Added a 3rd tier to the competitive weekly challenge with a new reward of Artifice Armor. So now, for all us PvP enthusiasts, just from playing competitive, now it's more worthy to play competitive. You can get some Artifice Armor. Now, this tier is unlocked for all players who reach rank gold 3 or above each season. This tier requires match victories instead of completions. Upon completion of the challenge, each victory thereafter has a chance to drop Artifice Armor, and the drop rates increase alongside a player's rank. So now you have more of an incentive to push to them higher ranks. Now, drop rates are based on a player's highest rank achieved for the season, not their current rank. So if you manage to get to Adept or Ascendant and you end up falling short and you're back to gold, well, it doesn't matter. Just try and get some victories. You still have Artifice to drop. Now, competitive matches will also have an increased chance to drop exotic weapon catalysts on victories. This is great for new players coming to the game that want to just focus on PvP. Now, Trials of Osiris updated the 50% chance to get a Trials weapon on wins to always drop the weekly weapon reward to better allow for targeted farming of the specific weapon a player wants. They've also added rewards on match completions for 3-person fire teams gated on participation. An additional 50% chance to drop the non-adept Trials weekly weapon reward, or the 50% chance at a Trials Ingram drop, additional Trials reputation. Ooh, so a little fluff there. Not still really anything too eye-catching for you to 3-stack with how sweaty it is, but it's nice to see they're trying to do something with it. Now, Trials passages updated. Passage of Ferocity. The player hasn't been flawless for the week. Then loses after 3 wins, will reset them back to 3 wins instead of flowing their card. Isn't that great? I think this is huge, right? This should give people a bit of a chance to come in here now in Trials and increase the player pool. They've also added a new passage of Persistence. Losses following a win will remove the win from a player's card. Consecutive losses do not remove additional wins. Getting to 7 wins grants a drop of the weekly adept weapon, regardless of how many losses the player has taken. Now, this is huge. Now you get a participation reward. It doesn't say anything about any flawless glow or any of that, so you won't get the lighthouse based on what it says. You'll just get the drop of that featured weapon. Do catch Ty1slayer over at twitch.tv/Ty1slayer for Friday Trials this week. We will be doing the passage of Persistence. Now, also what I'm thinking is, right, if we read this again, regardless of how many losses the player's taken, you can grab a Passage of Mercy first, and because you haven't been flawless yet for the week, you have 2 chances to get flawless on that 7 win there. That functions the same. But you'll probably be able to run that one first, right? Have your 2 Mercy chances for your first flawless of the week, and then pick up a Passage of Persistence and get another flawless for the week, nice and easy. So you can actually get to the lighthouse, get a chance at those other rewards as well, and get that nice glow. But do keep that in mind. You can at least guarantee yourself just about 2 flawless passes to the lighthouse, guaranteed. And they've also added 2 weapons to Trials of Cyrus rewards rotation. The Summoner is back. Auto Rifle and its adept version will be featured Trials for the first time during the week of March 12th. Prophet Scout Rifle and its adept version will be featured Trials of Cyrus weapon during the week of March 19th. Now, really fast, I want to look here. We're not goofing ourselves. I wish they would have. Wait, hold on. It says for the first time during the week of March 12th. The week of March 12th, so on the 15th, or they mean on the 8th this week, and it's ending on the 12th. It doesn't state it that way. Let's see. It says during the week of March 12th. So in that case, it may be on the 15th. We'll have to see. I'll update you guys in the comments. And then Iron Banner added 2 weapons to the Iron Banner rewards rotation. That'll be available starting April 2nd, so a bit ways out for this. You have the Tusk of the Boar grenade launcher, as well as the multi-match CCX submachine gun. Okay. Also, 2 new Nightfall weapons. 2 weapons of Nightfall loot pool rotation. The Wild Style grenade launcher and its adept version will be featured Nightfall weapon for the first time during the week of March 5th. Okay, guys, so based on that, we have this live now, so unfortunately, we're gonna have to wait 1 full week for the Summoner. Sad face. And then the Slammer Sword and its adept version will be featured for the first time during the week of March 19th. Gambit fixed an issue with incorrect high variant spawnings. Prophecy, the dungeon weapon pool has been updated. All the added and updated weapons below will be given the new origin trait, Crossing Over. Weapons have increased range and handling for the top half of the mag, while rounds from the bottom half of the mag deal increased damage. Removed, Swift Verdict Sidearm, the Long Walk Sniper Rifle, and the Last Breath Auto. These weapons will be added to the weapon pool and have received all new perk pools and in some cases new damage types. Prosecutor Auto Rifle, Primary, Precision Frame, on Arc. You have the Adjudicator Submachine Gun, Primary, Kinetic, Precision Frame. Then this Pulse Rifle, Primary, High Impact Frame, the damage change from Kinetic to Strand. This, I think, will become a top Pulse Rifle. It's a high impact frame. Now, with you being able to get this, if you still haven't been flawless in Trials for your Adept Messenger, which is also a high impact frame. Here you go, you have a perfect alternative. And then while this season's artifacts are going on, if you pick up an Overpower, you will make your strand weapons get unraveling rounds. Now these weapons will remain in the dungeon weapon pool with new perk pools and new damage types. Judgment hand cannon. Adaptive frame, change from kinetic to stasis, that's nice. Put some love to stasis, man. Now Dark's the 4 pulse rifle. Rapid fire frame has changed from arc to solar. Make use of this now this season while we have these busted solar artifacts. We have a sudden death shotgun on aggressive frame, damage change from arc to void. Now this is huge here, guys, because of origin trait crossing over. You're only going to have 2 in the mag, right? From your special, so you'll have that damage buff active already in PvP. That'd be huge. A Warlord's Ruin, correct nameplate appears in the boss spawns during traversal, yada yada. You guys like to pause here for more miscellaneous bug fixes and things of that nature. We'll go over the UI here. Gunsmith engrams are now listed in the engram wallet, fixing an issue where some multiplayer emotes will not display their interaction dialogue. You guys can pause here and take a look at these, or you can follow along. There'll be a link in the top of the description. Now, gameplay and investment. More issues fixed. Once again, pause here. Here's more important stuff, though, up our alley with the PvP. The Crucible Sandbox health. In-base Crucible increased player health by 30, from 70 to 100. Shields will still be between 116 and 130, depending on players' resilience values. Ability cooldowns. Melee grenade and class ability cooldowns now have a 15% penalty applied to them in Crucible only. They're kind of moving away from that heavy ability spam that we all know and kind of hate. Now, super cooldowns now have a 20% penalty applied to them in Crucible only. Ability damage supers increase base super damage by 31%. That is a beefy amount, no? We have to crush the things here. That doesn't really equate to a 30 HP increase, so that's a buff to have that 20% penalty applied, right? Now, melee increase base melee damage by 16%. Anything under 20% matches that plus flat 30 HP increase. Anything higher than 20% is a bit of a buff. Now, grenades increased arc flux grenade damage by 16%, so it can still remain somewhat competitive. Primary weapon damage now. Pulse rifles, as well as auto sidearms and scout rifles will have an increased crit hit damage by 14%. Hand cannons increase crit hit damage by 10%. Reduce body shot damage by 5%. Yeah, that's kind of huge, so you can't get away with the body shots now. And reduce flinch dealt to players by projectile impact by 12.5% and explosive payload by 10%. Wowzers. Now you're not going to be able to swing out with your hand cannon and off-flinch someone trying to snipe down lane. Now, submachine guns increase critical hit damage by 12.5%, reduce body shot damage by 3%. That in tangent with the target lock nerf. It's actually going to be huge on SMG gameplay now. Love this change here. Bows reduce base damage by 15%. All you hunters sitting in the back with your invisibility with your lemons and wish enders. Good riddance. Special ammo acquisition. All players you start every game, all game types including round based modes like Dominion with 2 kills worth of special ammo for their chosen weapon. That 2 kills worth of special ammo being granted every time a player respawns. They will earn more ammo by filling up a special ammo meter, as you guys know when they were testing out the checkmate stuff. Any kills, assists, or completing objectives. So you get 100 points, grants 2 kills worth of special ammo for their chosen weapon. Kills from special ammo and heavy ammo weapons do not grant any points towards special ammo meter progress. Jumping off the map will subtract progress from special ammo meter. Ammo is not dropped on death, and players will not lose the special ammo they earned when they are defeated or revived. Earned special ammo will carry over between rounds. I love this change here because now you can get a bit more meticulous with the type of weapons you bring into PvP now in Trials, specifically in competitive, and how you want to stack up. Maybe you want to use something now, get a quick edge in a round, and then save some of your ammo for the later rounds, just in case you have a little contingency in place. This is huge for Destiny 2 to keep it a very competitive game, and to rival a lot of these other games that will be coming out in the next few months. Certain games that are getting quality of life stuff and all that stuff that are also PvP focused. This is very great for the health of Destiny 2. Now, swapping from double primary weapons to a special ammo weapon will reset the player's special ammo meter progress. Special weapon damage, trace rifles, shotguns, and fusion rifles increase base damage by 20%. So once again, as I said, no more than 20% is kind of keeping it in line with that player health by 30. Having base super damage by 31% is crazy. So if you're running that Strand Hunter super, you don't do the main one that kind of extends out more, you do the one that kind of spins it up in the air, the right bumper, if you're on controller. That one should be hitting for more damage now, and it might be more beneficial to use that one now. And then the one with the longer reach should still one hit. Alright, let's get back here. Glides are also getting projectile damage increased by 20%. Melee damage by 16%. A lot of these are kind of just to keep them in par with the HP bump. Heavy grenade launchers reduce detonation damage by 5%. Ugh. But machine guns increase base damage by 20%, so you might see machine guns more now than the grenade launchers. Exotic weapons, Fighting Lion, decrease damage versus players in Crucible by 20%. Devil's Ruin, decrease charge beam damage versus players in Crucible by 15%. That's sad. It's sad. Sad day for Devil Ruin's main. Then Crimson, reduce flinch dealt to players by projectile impact by 17.5%. Forerunner is getting a 20% damage buff. Hefty. You're going to see Forerunner dominate for quite some time. Maybe they'll lower the profile a little bit. Thinking if they did something like maybe, 10% or 16% increase would have been good. They're giving Symmetry's Revolution damage versus players in Crucible a 16% buff. So once you kind of build those stacks further, it should still guarantee you a 2-tap. More general fixes here. Remember to pause here. Look a little bit here. Okay, so here they fixed the issue with heavy burst hand cannons, 25% less aim assist, than any other hand cannons when hip firing or airborne on mouse and keyboard. Bows reduced auto aim fall off distance starting in by 15%. Reduce auto aim cone size by 5%, and 100 accuracy stat, unchanged at 0 stat. Auto rifles breakneck added the missing 12 perk to breakneck second trait column. 12th perk to breakneck second trait column. They could have told us what that is here. Whichever that one is. And then scout rifles, lightweights, increased base damage by 5%. Eee. Sniper rifles general, reduced auto aim by 10%. Rocket launcher, diversified subfamilies, precision, increased reserve ammunition by 2, reduced damage penalty from -10 to -5%. High impact, increased reserve ammunition by 2, deals more area of effect damage, less impact for roughly the same total damage. And they say the above 2 changes also affect Deathbringer, Gallahorn, and Truth. Heavy grenade launchers getting some love. Increased reserve ammunition by 6 rounds at 0 inventory stat and by 10 rounds at 100 inventory stat. Reduce spike grenades impact damage buff from 50% to 12.5%. Wowzers. With the below changes, this reduces the total spike grenade damage buff from about 8% to 3%, making them less mandatory. Increase direct hit impact damage by 10%. Increase detonation damage by 5%, offset by the 5% reduction to detonate damage in PvP. Increase heavy wave grenade launcher damage by 20%. Increase heavy wave grenade launcher wave width by 40%. Wow. That should be nice. The swords, caster swords, reduced heavy attack. Energy cost from 5 to 4. Reduce heavy attack damage by 16%. Some exotic changes. Vision Swing now has a deterministic recoil pattern. X-Myth cast, increase ADS. Damage fall off scalar from 1.5 to 1.7. Wish to enter True Sight when on deactivate, the player leaves ADS or holds it for longer than 3 seconds. To reactivate, fully redraw the bow. Edge of action, added damage resistance against comets and PvE. It is 85% against all combatants except bosses and 15% against bosses. Now some Manticore changes. Now be airborne 0.5 seconds to deal damage to the weapon. To activate the perk, prevents accidental activation while running downstairs or doing small jumps. Special reload to disengage anti-grav thrusters. While anti-grav thrusters are engaged, combatants will be less accurate when targeting the player. Gotta see how good this is right here. Maybe it'll be more viable now. Now Catalyst final blows and sustained damage with the weapon, while airborne grant a void overshield and return ammo to the mag. Holy Manticore. The Manticore is getting some love. Just sustained damage. So, GMs, right? Who knows? You might even be able to take it into a GM, dude. That's just sustained damage. You don't need to get a final blow. You just need to be airborne, grant void overshield, and return ammo to the mag. Now, it doesn't say you have to be on void, so if you're a Heat Rise Warlock, this might be up your alley right here. And then get your double Icarus dashes and keep going to town with the Manticore. This is craziness. It should work just as that. And then the X-Dirus, increase impact damage versus PvE enemies by 50%. Huge! Increase maximum rate of fire by 16%. Huge! Now, conditional finality fixed an issue where the freeze and ignition effects could sometimes be applied at extremely long distance. Outbreak perfected, fixed a flashing photosensitivity issue when firing a weapon. Ooh. Now, lots of perk changes as well. Heal Clip will grant cure times 2 to the player. Still grants cure times 1 to nearby allies. So if you're still watching now, let me know some of the changes down below that you're most excited for. If you're confused on anything, we'll be happy to talk about it in the comments. If you enjoy these types of educational videos from Ty1slayer, be sure to spank that like button and subscribe, as Ty1slayer creates educational content all the time. Now, Trench Barrel can now be activated by dealing damage with ranged melee attacks. Barrel Constrictor no longer deactivates upon firing a shot and lasts for 7.5 seconds, enhanced 8.5. I wonder what enhanced weapons have this. I'm gonna have to look. Loose Change, applying an elemental debuff now increases aim assist and ADS movement speed, in addition to reload speed. This is nice. There's quite a few guns actually have Loose Change on it, and you really wouldn't run it. But now with that, that's huge if you like to run some stasis with your cold snaps. All that applied when you freeze someone, that should count as an elemental debuff. Now Dual Loader removes the reload speed penalty. Text Balance Stock now grants plus 20 range and 1.5 degree hipfire precision cone angle, in addition to its other effects. Envious Assassin nerfs, each activation is now capped at 100% of mag size instead of 150. And maximum overflow is now 3 times the mag size instead of 4 times. Bait and Switch, reduced the damage bonus from 35 to 30. Not too bad. Now 1-2 Punch now correctly deactivates after dealing damage with a powered melee attack. The Hockey Breach arraigments, Deconstruct, and Sundering now work with Void Soul, Strand Clone, Cabal Projection Shields, and Bricks. Ooh boy. Damage bonus versus Stasis crystals reduced from 85 to 60 to match other constructs. Deconstruct updated the perk, correctly state that it pulls ammo from thin air, not reserves. Also updated to work on fusion rifles and weapons that deal splash damage. Ooh. Correcting the issue preventing the perk from activating on enemy constructs in Crucible. And fixed issues would not work as expected when dealing explosive damage. Fixed issue ammo refund was not working on fusion rifles. Thundering can now trigger on shield break, in addition to final blows on vehicles and constructs. A small reload speed scaler, reduced charge rate benefit to account for higher uptime. Thundering buff no longer active while weapons are stowed. Hatchling, the requirements no longer locked to archetype in terms of precision or non-precision kills. That's huge. Maybe we'll see some more hatchling in PvP. Previously, a scout rifle could only activate the perk from a precision kill. Now, scout rifles can activate on a precision kill or 3 rapid non-precision kills. Target lock activates later in the mag for submachine guns at 20% at 12.5%. That's huge because they've also nerfed SMG body damage by, I think it was 5% or 3% earlier when we read. Mods major spec fix an issue where mini bosses were incorrectly included in its effects. Boss spec now correctly increases damage versus mini bosses. Special weapon focusing, where the wish weapons and undying weapon engrams didn't reward a weapon if the player had already unlocked all crafting patterns for weapons contained in the engram. Never experienced that one. Abilities Radiant and Restoration. Fix issue where Restoration Radiant were not being reapplied rather than having their duration extended. Also resolves similar issues with shorter restoration sources like sunspots. Ember of Empyrean increased maximum extension duration from 12 to 15 seconds. Reduced timer extension granted per solar kill to compensate for drastically improved consistency. Previously granted flat timer extension, regardless of the type of target defeated. Time varies based off the target's tier, with lower time extension returns than previously for minor combatants and higher returns for champion plus tier combatants. This is great. Ember of Mercy, you get a flat 2 additional seconds to the player active restoration or radiant timer rather than refreshing its duration. This value is increased to 3 seconds with Ember of Solace equipped. Rather than refreshing its duration, so is that kind of a nerf? I think that's kind of a nerf to Ember of Mercy. Now, Threaded Spectre. Creating a Threaded Spectre now applies the same dodge cooldown penalty that Ensnaring Slam applies. Increased detonation damage versus PvE targets by about 25%. Ensnaring Slam reduced duration of dodge cooldown penalty, performing Ensnaring Slam and PvE activities by 50%. That's nice. Threadlings reduce base damage versus players from 40 to 35. Fragment enhanced damage from 45 to 38.5 versus players. Unchanged versus PvE combatants. Fixed issues where Threadlings deconstruction impulse that was looking for other Threadlings has standard fall off, so they weren't reliably popcorn detonating as intended when one Threadling was destroyed. Fixed an issue where Threadlings were sometimes not playing their destruction performance when destroyed. It increased aim assist target size from 0.41 m to 0.5 meters. An Arcane Needle increased aim assist angle by 50%. Increased aim assist fall off distance from 30 to 45. Increased tracking angular velocity by about 5%. Increased length of projectile tracking shape. Improved tracking consistency at all ranges with the greatest improvement felt against close to mid-range targets. Crazy. Fixed an issue where using uncharged melees while Arcane Needle is equipped resulted in the player appearing to freeze in a melee pose. Now Consecration increased primary Scorch Ground follow projectile travel distance from 18 to 20 meters, increased height of slam ground follow projectile detonation by about 1 meter. Increased travel distance of slam ground follow projectile from 16 to 20 meters. Increased travel speed of slam ground follow projectile. Pyro Gale's enhanced version from 16 to 24 per second. Gunpowder Gamble reduced maximum self-damage on detonation by 33%. No accidental death. Fixed an issue where Omnioculus melee energy return perk was unintentionally being reduced by the melee ability's chunk energy scaler. It now returns its original energy values when making allies invisible. Fixed issue Flash Grenade receiving less chunk ability energy from perks than intended. You should wear Rally Barricade, receiving more chunk ability energy from perks than intended, while the Bastion aspect is equipped. Bounties and pursuits. Armor synthesis bounties reset. Any general stuff on new text chat command called clear. We clear all text and chat messages on screen. Poggers. Who's tired of seeing those messages on your screen in the bottom right corner just all the time until you restart your game? Multiplayer emotes added during Season of the Deep, Season of Witch, and Season of the Wish will now probably display their chat messages with the players. Veteran Flare. Transnight effect acquired from collections to shift by those who use it. Other miscellaneous things here. Present during first phase of activity to get the Deathless Triumph to heal the champ title. Other miscellaneous things. Champions will no longer spawn in the Vanguard Ops playlist version of the PsyOps Battlegrounds. Players are no longer awarded a second Veil Spectrometer consumable on subsequent characters after completing the pursuit. They got Trash Emote no longer allows players hiding in geometry. That's it for March 5th, Destiny 2 Update 7.3.5. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know some of the changes you're kind of loving down below. Me, I'm a big PvP person, so I like that I'll now be able to earn my Artifice armor in competitive. If you're like me, and you were kind of getting in the game during Witch Queen, you never really did any of the master dungeons to farm for Artifice. You never had your triple 100 stat like everyone else. Now, we can PvP and comp and get our triple 100 stat. So that's probably my favorite change. And very good. What I really want to see Bungie do, give some more love to Iron Banner. I like that we're getting 2 new weapons, but why is there no Iron Banner bounties, guys? Makes no sense. Should be like a separate Iron Banner bounty system like they do with Trials. That would be nice, and it would just be there. Because why not? Trials has it, so does regular Crucible. Why not Iron Banner as well?